Hello and welcome back. If this is your first time, welcome. My name is Cassidy or Starr, and I am a Light Renegade, part of a collective of Pleiadian beings, bringing you information from the galaxies and from the veil beyond. Happy Monday, everyone who receives this in right time. I had a really beautiful weekend, a really impromptu, beautiful weekend. I've not been sleeping very well at all the past week, past couple of weeks, but the past week in particular was really difficult. But I was scrolling on my phone, as you shouldn't do when you can't sleep. And I came across a event that was happening, so kind of a interactive nature and ceremonial event that was happening just around the corner from me, and I thought, okay, no matter how much I haven't slept, I'm going to go down. So I spent the day with a bunch of really amazing people, talking to the trees, having a nature walk, connecting over food and like-minded essences. So I was really grateful that the universe brought that to me. And then I went for a really long hike on the Sunday with a great friend, and I just really needed it, hands in the dirt, crawling into caves. And I just had the bestest time. And from today's message, I think I realised why that was so needed for me. Not only in my personal journey, but for what's to come. I think that we're going to be really getting into it this week with Diana and her messages. If you haven't watched my videos before, you might want to start with the channelings of Diana. So I'm going to share a message that Diana shared with me earlier today. But I've started to channel Diana. I think this is the 13th, maybe the 14th message. I think the 13th message. No, 14th message. So you might want to start there. I channel the galactic realms. I'm a Pleaiadian, so if you don't know what any of these words mean, you might want to go and have a little research. I have a feeling that a lot of brand new people are going to find my channel. So if there are words that you don't understand, if there's anything you don't understand, please do shoot us an email and we will get back to you. But if you find buzzwords, you know, that you can Google, please do that too. I think it's really great when you can kind of go on a deep dive for yourself into these things and see what comes up for you. Back to where I was. So I needed to be out in nature. I've really been struggling with something that I haven't spoke about over here yet. I think I brought it up a couple of times, but I've been really struggling with the energies of a particular kind of karmic connection that I have sort of still in my life. I'm going to link a video that I made a really long time ago, about 8 months ago, sort of discussing this. So if you're interested in that, it's kind of around the karmic twin flame connection. I'm feeling called to share it now. I feel like it's time, and I feel like some people out there might need to hear it too. So if that feels like that's right for you, I'm going to link that below. But today is a channeling from Diana, so I was really grateful to have this really grounding time in nature, because I think I'm going to need to bring it all back into self this week. I've really been struggling with my energy too, so I don't know if any of you out there are feeling the same. I'm just really processing, I think, a lot of this new ascension that's coming through. There's a lot of energy coming through. We've had all the planets go direct as well, so I think there's just been a lot of push energy. So I've been sleeping with my hematoid quartz and having a lot of crystals around me. So if you're feeling that, please just take as many salt baths as you can. Make sure you're drinking lots of water and just really listening to your body. I ate a lot this weekend, which is quite unusual for me, but I really felt like my body needed that nourishment. So please listen to your body. Please give your body what it needs. Only you can know that for yourself. So just make sure you're keeping an eye on your physical vessel. I've had my skin just really feel kind of like itchy and crawly and just not okay. So I know that I'm kind of energetically still figuring out what my body's wanting to do in this ascension process. I've also felt a lot of beings around me, especially over this weekend. It felt like there was a lot of people around me, some good, some bad, some really just protecting me. So I've been waking up in the wee hours of the morning, like 4 and 5 in the morning, kind of having a little chat with the teams that I have, just giving me a bit of a pep talk and advice at this time, which I've been really grateful for. So just know, if you are feeling movement, that's completely natural where we are right now. A lot is happening on an energetic level, so just be kind to self and make sure that you're looking after your vessel. So I do have another message from Diana today, which I've got is 1616 that I started channeling this, which no coincidence is there, but this one is called Disclosure. This message today, it's a really lengthy message. I think this is the longest message that we've had, so please bear with me. Something that I find really interesting, I felt like I should note this, was that I was always the kid that hated reading out at school. I used to despise it, you know. I'd like switch seats to make sure that I didn't have to read if I knew it was my turn, one of those ones. And I do have another channel where I read oracle cards, and I was guided to start reading more of the inserts of these booklets that you actually get with your cards, which I wouldn't normally do. I just channel the messages through, but sometimes it is really nice to read the inserts of the authors of those decks. So I was guided to read more of these in the recent weeks, and now I find it really funny because obviously I'm here reading messages for you, and it was just interesting to me to think that sometimes you don't know where something is leading you, and you know, if I hadn't started reading those out, I wouldn't feel as comfortable as I do here, kind of channeling and reading in this way, which I've never done before. So those little steps, you know, that take you somewhere else, that lead you to something a lot bigger. So don't forget that too. I think that's something that I'm really having to keep hold of right now in my journey, is that these little movements that I've been making, they're starting to add up to something that is quite expansive, but also it's making a lot more sense to me where I am in my journey. So keep holding on to that too. I know some of you out there have been on this journey for such a long time, and honestly, my heart goes out to you. I've been here for 3 years, and it can't come soon enough. So I don't know how you've done it. Honestly, bow down to you, hats off to you, because you've had the strength all this time to keep going. So thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for your light, because I truly wouldn't be here without all of your light and your energy. I just really wanted to stress that too. So we have another message from Diana today called Disclosure. The first part it felt different, and I knew it was Diana, but it felt very different. And then as I got through the message, I was like, okay, this makes sense. I'm going to read it out, and then it will make a little bit more sense to you. So she started with, hello, dear souls. Thank you for your patience with me and the sharing of my story at this time. What you must understand is that disclosure of this kind is very intricate and dynamic in process, which at its heart's level is very sensitive in nature also. What may come as a surprise to some is that though you hear me here as Diana, as you once knew me, I'm also very much a participant in the galactic realms and act as a Pleiadian gatekeeper and guardian to many, including most of you. I am Diana, but at my core, I am Pleaiadian. And that's what sort of clicked into place for me. I was like, okay, I'm kind of tapping into much more of her essence as a Pleiadian. 1717 on the clock there, just for those that like synchronicities and angel numbers. And that's something I've really had to try and grasp in this journey, and I couldn't understand it for the longest time, was that although I am here living this life in this vessel, kind of my Pleiadian self is still very much active in other realms. A few weeks ago, myself, Anna Maria and Cabela were all having really intense crazy dreams, sort of like feeling like we were battling with other beings, and you know, we get told that that is very much as what is happening, but we have to kind of be all places at once. And then you think about, you know, existing timelines, so everything happening all at the exact same time, and being able to chop and change through different timelines. It's like there are infinite versions of you all over. which is a lot to kind of understand. And it's still taking me some time to calibrate it. You know, there's some days where I very much know that I've jumped a timeline and something will happen that's really obvious to me, and I just have to laugh at this point because nothing is normal in my life anymore, and I'm very grateful, but at the same time it can be very disorientating. So to those out there that are experiencing it, please know you're not alone. If you would like some more advice, please do reach out to us. If anything's happening in your life at the moment that you're not sure of, and you're wanting help with, please do reach out and we will get back to you. But yes, and then Diana's essence, as we would know her as, you know, Diana, the former Princess of Wales, kind of came in at this point, and she said, "What I'm about to share next is of a very sensitive nature. Some viewers may find this very disturbing, so please make sure you are ready to receive this information of a violent nature. I would like to cast you all back to a time of what felt like freedom. I was very much in full swing as my role as Diana, the Princess of Wales. I put a halt on my ongoing investigations. The bottles stopped appearing, and I began to be ever more vigilant with my children's whereabouts and also my food. I thought to myself, they really want me to take this medicine. What could stop them from putting it in my food? To which I was proved right, of course. As I've mentioned before, there were only a number of those around me that I knew I could truly trust. Not only that, but all that I had discovered, I knew if I told the wrong people, I would be closed down and probably pushed into a mental institute. But yes, back to me. I was in full swing of my roles. Charles and I began to grow even further apart. The children were in their late child phase at this time. William was 9 and Harry was 7. I began to put a stop to the visitations that were happening at my home. As I'd stated before, I didn't trust most people around me at this time. I was treated like an outsider, like I wasn't good enough. One day my sweet boy Harry came to me and he said, "Mummy, I don't feel well. I think something is wrong," and he grasped at his stomach. I touched it. It felt overgrown and warm to the touch. I asked him if he had eaten anything recently I didn't know about. I tried to make sure the children ate on schedule and together at this age still. Harry replied, a cake Daddy had gave him. He told me not to tell you. It was our little secret. At this moment, Harry fainted. I called our doctor. Charles was nowhere to be found again, out with no word, nowhere he was going or who with. The doctor came and he told me everything was going to be okay. He said that Harry may have caught a bug, but his vitals seemed to be okay. He suggested that I give Harry a couple of pills a day for the next few weeks to make sure he was stable. Immediately, the hairs on the back of my neck stood up. It seemed to all click into place. I thought, this was planned. What are they wanting me to give my children? Would William be next? I, of course, merely thanked the doctor for coming and made sure to check on Harry as soon as we had finished speaking. I asked Harry if this had ever happened before, if Daddy had ever given him anything to eat or treats without me knowing. He replied, yes. At night he would sometimes come in with sweets for him and his brother. My heart sank. I don't think I wanted it to be true. I didn't want to believe all that I knew deep down in my heart. But then Harry said something else, something I wasn't ready for. He said, "Mummy, sometimes men come to visit me at night. They stand in my room, just staring at me." I asked if these men had ever touched or hurt him, and he thankfully replied no. "But they stand there in black dressing gowns," he replied. I thought I was dreaming. William has asked me if I had seen them too. The voice was back. You cannot deny this any longer, Diana. You must come back. Come back to us. The voice was again faint and muffled, like I couldn't quite reach it. But I knew. I knew I had to do something. I knew that I wasn't my full self, that something was still a mystery to me, but I had that feeling that I had to set myself free. This was the same feeling I'd had when I decided to stop drinking those bottles. I couldn't understand how I'd let myself be blindsided again. What was happening? The voice was so quiet, but I remembered once it was so loud and I felt held. That same night, I received a vision in my dreams. A vision so traumatic I shook awake. I saw my boys being molested by many men. Many faces I knew, many faces I had seen at the functions and parties over the years. The voice came in again. Diana, this is the future. If you do not wake up, you must wake up now. I didn't realize I was still asleep. I fully woke up and I looked down at my sheets. They were blood red. My body began tingling. I began to pray and ask for forgiveness. I felt like this was all my fault somehow, as though I just let time roll by and I hadn't seen the truth that was right in front of me all along. I didn't sleep from that night on. Every night I prayed for the voice to be louder, to be stronger, for me to be stronger, for my children, and I also added for the children of this world. And that's where the channeling stopped. I could feel Diana's essence quite somber over the entirety of this weekend, and also today when this message was coming through. It's like my own energy is so succinct to her energy, and I think that's, because we're Pleiadian, and as much as there is there's kind of a connection that is something else you can't describe. So I feel very much in her essence a lot of the time. I know when she's come in, even if she hasn't spoke to me, I just feel that her energy is kind of in my field. So a lot of the time I can really feel her emotions as I'm channeling this. So I hear it as a voice, but then I'm also typing it at the same time. And throughout this journey, throughout the entirety of my journey, I haven't asked a lot of questions. Even though I can speak to many beings, I haven't asked a lot of questions. And I think that I'm just quite intuitive in knowing that what's the right question to ask and when. And I don't feel like I can probe Diana with this. I don't feel like I can kind of ask too many questions yet. And I think that's because we're going to have the questions answered that we want. But I do think it's very intricate, the timing of everything right now. So I'm trying to be patient. I'm very much trying to be patient with myself too. I'm feeling resistance coming up against this. It's kind of, it feels like it's out of my realms. I had only very basic information about the royal family, although I'm in the UK. They weren't on my radar. I did feel a connection with Diana, as I'd mentioned before, as I was only small at the time when she was alive, but the royal family hasn't been a topic of interest for me. So, sharing this information feels very out of my comfort zone. I want to make sure that I am, channeling as purely as I can, channeling as succinctly as I can to everything that Diana wants me to kind of do in this realm. So I'm very much taking her lead on this. So have faith that all of our questions will be answered and that it's all going to start to come together. I'm feeling a lot of energy shifting at the moment, and I think I'm very close to physical contact with something that is not from this realm. I'm going to share another channeling that I've just done for another race of being. So you might want to check the next video out. Even if this is your first time, you might feel called there. I feel like some of you are feeling my resistance. You know, it's quite a lot what's coming through, and I've definitely felt energy in my field to kind of put me off track. I really felt when kind of heavier, darker energies are coming in, and I've really had to find resolve in myself to, you know, push my love and my light out to that energy and to not feel fear. But I think it's very natural to have fear come up as a natural response. So if you are feeling afraid, that's okay. You know, I'm feeling slightly afraid, if not terrified at times, just because this is so not what we are used to. I've been on this journey for a little while now, but I would not class myself as a seasoned veteran in this lifetime. So I'm very much in the remembrance of my true self still, and I think that's where a lot of you are now as well. So please be kind to yourself. I'm doing everything that I can to kind of self-soothe and make sure that I'm keeping my heart chakra open. I've had a lot of feelings come up this week, and all I wanted to do was just kind of shut everything down and shut everything out, and I was like, I can't do that. You know, I have to have the strength to remain open, to keep my heart open, to be open to everything that is coming towards me. So I'm really having to catch myself and my fear and my humanness kind of wanting to shrink all of this away, because I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I know this is what I've been guided to for the longest time, but there is fear around this, and that's okay. So if you are feeling afraid, please know that it's okay and you will get through it. But please don't overstimulate yourself with information. Please don't push too hard or retreat at this time. It's such a fine balance to be a human and to be an expansive human at this time. Everything is just firing at all cylinders at the moment. So please come back to self. Please look after self, and do reach out if you would like help with your energy systems at this time. I'm a Reiki practitioner. Also, if you want to dive deeper into your past lives, please do also reach out to us. We do past life regressions, but everything that we do as a channel will be at the description box below. But thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing in this space and all of your beautiful comments along the way. It's very much appreciated where I am, and I will be back again tomorrow. So please take care. Go well. Bye.